today about the 4 paths of yoga. Right? So here in the Western world, we think that yoga is just about coming in, let's just stretch our body, I'm going to get flexible, and then I'm out of here, right? And so in the Western world, we have bastardized yoga. We really have, okay? Because if you were to go to the Eastern world where yoga was created over 5,000 years ago, you would never find somebody on a mat, ever. Because yoga is not about the physical body, right? So yoga, and you guys can take these notes down because they're very interesting, not just what I have here. So when I speak, you might want to write some things down that are pertinent to you, because I'm going to ask those of you that want an A to write a report on things I've said, right? And everything I say is important, right? Okay, so let me tell you, how many of you guys know when yoga was created? No? Those of you, how many of you guys have taken yoga before? And that wasn't touched upon? Okay. Yoga was created over 8,000 years ago. It is one of the oldest forms of art, of self-knowledge, of self-inquisition, and of self-reflection. But let me tell you a little bit about who yoga was created for. And you can't answer. Yoga was created for 12-year-old boys who were sons of the rich or the elite or the famous. So you had to be really, really rich, really, really rich to be able to have your son, because it wasn't made for women. Women were not allowed to do yoga because yoga is important about the reflection, and they knew that if they taught these philosophical things and then combined it with actions, what would happen was you would be extremely successful. And the only people that are allowed to be successful back in the day were the boys that belonged to the elite or the well-to-do. Rich, famous, elite, royalty, right? No, a commoner 12-year-old boy was not allowed to do yoga, right? Because when you actually comprehend the yoga and you know the path of yoga and you know what it's good for, guess what? It can change your whole life. It can change everything for you and make you very successful if you actually follow it. Now, because of that, they actually studied 4 paths of yoga. And from those 4 paths of yoga, they became a very well-rounded, successful individual. Right? And the 4 paths of yoga are the first one. And the very first one is karma, selfless service. Now, some people will just do that, will just live that, selfless service. Let me give you an example of a modern day yogi who lived by the path of yoga called karma yoga. Does anybody remember Mother Teresa?
Yes.
Mother Teresa lived off of karma yoga. Lived for karma yoga, breathed karma yoga, selfless service. The woman was always in selfless service. Would you agree? Right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's path number 1. path number 2, which is what you're getting here by me speaking it out to you, is the philosophical path, because it deals with the philosophy and it actually gives you better intellect. Now, understand this. Knowledge is just knowledge until it's applied. So knowledge is no good for you guys unless it's applied, right? So if you don't know how to apply the knowledge that you're gaining, what good is it? How many of you guys have heard older people say, oh my God, I took algebra and I never used it? Yes or no? Because that was a knowledge that was gained and we were not taught where we could use it in real life. So it's not really being used. So it was just knowledge that's now, what? Creating clutter and debris in our mind, right? So when I share with you and I tell you how we're actually going to use it on our mat and how this actually transcends your daily life, I'm now showing you guys how to use it. So I hope that you guys actually apply the philosophical path, right? And then we're also going to learn in this class Bhakti Yoga, which is the devotional yoga, which is mantra, chanting, and prayer. Towards the end of the class, we're going to actually do mantras. Mantra is just seed sounds repeated over and over and over, and they cause a reverberation of the chakras. Now, speaking of chakras, stepping aside, you should have gotten the book. You should be reading the introduction to the chakra book, and that should be in your notebook, okay? You got the link. You need to buy it. It is a PDF, so you're going to buy it, okay? Bhakti Yoga, chanting, prayer, mantra. Mantra reverberates through the chakras. If you don't have the chakra book and you haven't read the introduction, you're not going to know what I'm talking about. So you need to read the chakra book. Right. Raja Yoga. That's the scientific path. That comes to fruition with the 8 steps. And on Wednesday, we will see the 8 steps. Okay? That make sense? Yes? Okay, you need to go ahead and speak up like I told you before. If you go like this, I can't hear your head rattle. Right? So just say yes. Yes, got it. Right on. Yeah. Right? Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of everything in this class. In your homeworks, I'm going to ask you to do some karma yoga. You come to class, you listen to this old lady, you're going to learn the philosophical path, Jnana yoga. You come to class, you're here all the time, you're also going to learn the mantras, Bhakti yoga. You come to class, you're going to learn, I got somebody staring at me over there. Oh, would you open the door, please? He went to go do that. Raja yoga, right? Do the 8 steps, okay? Now, I want to ask you a question. I've already told you the answer, but why do you think it was so important for 12-year-old boys to learn the yoga and not the girls? They can become successful.
Well, wasn't it guys usually brought the money and ladies did the work?
Yeah.
That's how it used to be back then.
Yeah, yeah. So if we made our men successful through the path of yoga, which is, what is yoga again? Please tell me you wrote it down somewhere. What is yoga? It was the very first day I told you, woo, I make this sound and I make this, yes.
A transformational journey.
Yes, of the what?
Congruent.
Of the You're getting close. Of the
Mind and body. Chakras.
mind, body, and spirit. Mind, it is the union. Yoga is the union of the mind, the body, and the spirit, from which then we take action. Imagine that's the reason that it was so important, because somebody who takes action when they are in alignment, when every chakra is in alignment, that action is inspired action as opposed to reaction.